Good afternoon, my beautiful listeners, and welcome to another episode of the Endless Mindset Podcast. We are on episode number 41 today, and as always, I'm bringing you a very inspiring story. But the story today comes with something unusual as well, something which we didn't have on the podcast yet. The story is so powerful and so inspiring that I just cannot wait to share with you all about this beautiful person, which had one of the most challenging childhoods I've ever heard of, something what most of us could only seen on the TV, something what made her so resilient and so strong and so determined as well, and helped her to shape her into the person who she is now, someone who I admire, someone who inspiring me, someone who I'm so honored to call my friend now. She is a successful businesswoman. She is she's a property investor, mother of a beautiful, beautiful girl, events organizer, philanthropist, and so much more. And I can't wait to properly introduce you to my beautiful, beautiful friend, Chrissy Can. Hi, Chrissy, and welcome to the show.
Hi, Linko. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast. Very, very excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much for coming on the show. I honestly am so honored that you came to share, you giving me your time to share your story. Because as I said, that you have a very inspiring story for those who know what you do now, but not everybody knows that what actually shaped you as well to become the person who you are, and what actually your plans are for the future. Like, one of the most beautiful things I love about you is that your goal now is one of your main goals is to bring more beauty to this world, and that I admire and love so much. So we need to know more about you. We need to know more about who this beautiful person is who's going to change this world. So Chrissy, tell for those who don't know you yet, who is Chrissy?
My name is Chrissy Can. I'm a mother. I've got a 7-year-old daughter who I admire or I adore so deeply. My daughter is my biggest why, I would say. Growing up as a child, I grew up never having a mom. So my mom passed away at the age of when I was 3. She died of a heart condition. So I grew up actually not having a mom or not knowing much about my mom. I am passionate about creating wealth. I am very, very ambitious. I want to leave a legacy behind. I want to create wealth, but also leave a legacy behind just from the experience that I've had. My parents did not leave anything behind for us, and that left us struggling financially and every other thing that you could think about. Growing up wasn't that easy. So I think as I got into my early teen, I made a promise that I was going to be so wealthy. I was going to create so much wealth that money would never, ever be an obstacle or barrier to me getting certain stuff. Because growing up, there wasn't any luxuries. There wasn't money there to buy the things that I needed. So I'm actually passionate about creating multiple businesses, just, building my wealth, and also I love networking with people. I love meeting positive minded people. And I'm on a journey to achieving my goals and also changing life. That this will be one of my long-term goals, is to help people out there who are actually going through what I've been through, or families that might just need that little bit of help or support in any way that I can. But yeah, this is a little bit about me. Got my daughter. I'm on my journey to creating financial freedom and also creating everlasting wealth.
Wow. And so you've mentioned like a couple of challenges you were basically facing as a child, which is obviously huge. It's obviously really, really big, and that's already a huge respect to, like how far you've come, like, what the responsibility you had as a child, or what things you didn't have as an example, or to guide you, things like it's quite a lot to deal with as well. And on top of it, I know that you're coming as well from, there's more to it as well. Like there were some there was a so yeah, tell us a little bit more as well about, so where you come from. And there's a well, I know that there was a little bit of challenges going on as well in the country, which obviously helped you shape you to just show us how far you actually have come.
Yeah. So I was okay. I've got three siblings. I've got two sisters. It's the four of us, three girls and a boy. I'm the last of four from the four families that come from. Um, I was actually born in Liberia. And there was a war did happen many years ago. Can't remember exactly what year, but I was actually in that war. I saw everything, like when you see these things on movies, it's completely different. You cannot justify, or you cannot actually have that picture of exactly what it feels like. And I don't wish anyone to go through a war, because it's not a great experience. It's actually strengthening me, is shaking me or shaped me into this strong woman that I am today, with all the trauma or all the challenges that I have been through as a child. Um, I did mention at the beginning, my mom died when I was 3, and we never knew there was a war coming. That there was going to be a war after my mom passed away. It was not long after she died, the Liberian War came up or started. Um, Jokingly, like, we thought it was just going to be a day, 2 days, one day turn into 2 days, and 2 days turn into a week. And we knew it wasn't a joke anymore, because they were killing people. I saw people died right in front of me. Um, Thousands of people were being killed. And the only option that my dad had was for us to leave where we're living at the time, because it wasn't safe anymore.
Mm.
I remember clearly, I remember we're in the house on this specific day, standing, and there was a bullet penetrating into the wall. And I remember my dad saying to us, just lie flat, lie flat on the ground, because if that bullet penetrate, it could sort of hit your chest, or you could die. And I remember we all had to lie flat, and all I could see was a bullet going through. That's how sharp it was. It was penetrating through the wall. I can't remember exactly how long that went on for. And after the shooting stopped, I remember my dad saying clearly, we need to pack our clothes. There wasn't time to take any TV or anything important. It was mainly just a bag, just grab a few clothes, and we left. We left because it wasn't safe. People, quite a lot of people got killed the same day. And we left that location to sort of relocate to a location that my dad thought was a little bit safer, but it wasn't. Being in the war, I actually went to a stage or point in my life where we had to eat from the bin, because there wasn't any choice, any other choice or any other option. There wasn't food. The shops were all empty. So we then started digging into the rubbish bin for breakfast. It wasn't even about breakfast. It's just all looking for food.
Yeah.
Where would the next meal come from? Where with that's if you had the option to get one meal a day, and there was food that was being thrown into the bin that we had to eat. We drank dirty, muddy water from the floor, because there wasn't any clean water. So I think with everything that I've been through, it's made me appreciate life a bit more. It's made me the woman that I am today. And I remember many years ago when I was back in Africa, I made a promise to myself, and that promise was I was gonna create, I was gonna create wealth for me and my family, that we would never have to struggle or never have to, because I grew up in poverty. I grew up never having food on the table. There wasn't any clean clothes to wear. You had on the same clothes over and over. You wear the same top or the same trousers for a few weeks or a few months because you don't know where to get or clean clothes or to buy a new top from. And at some point, my dad got kidnapped. He got kidnapped, and where they took him, they were actually people that they took from where my dad got kidnapped. They were actually killing these people, so we just assumed that we wasn't going to see him again. He was being taken away for over a year, and this is just a little bit about 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 the experience that I had in the war. And after a whole year of not seeing my dad, we eventually got reunited after a whole year. But it felt like a dream because we thought he was being killed. Um,
Wow. How did you manage to reunite after such a long time? How did you
what
find him? Was he
I
released?
believe
Was it like he was released because the war ended, or did he got released for different reasons? Or
not really. So what it was when my dad got kidnapped at this certain place where they were kidnapping. So this war that happened, for people that knew about the Liberian War, we had Prince Johnson, he wasn't that bad. And then also you had Charles Taylor, which was the horrible one. He was killing for fun.
mm,
Charles Taylor did not like a certain tribe. So that means if you're Nigerian, if you're Ghanaian, he was killing them, like people from certain countries that he just did not like. And what it was, if you get kidnapped or get captured by this little young soldier, little young army, it's more likely you wouldn't survive. They
yeah.
were Where my dad was kept, they were taking people 15 to 20 people, and they were actually lining them up and literally gunning them down. They were killing them. So because we knew that, we just had it or assumed he wasn't going to come out. Because if you're being taken into this certain place, that the people that goes in there, maybe 9 out of 10 people don't survive. They will kill you. And when they took my dad, what my dad did say to us is, one of the guys that did rescue him, his dad's been killed. But my dad actually looks exactly like his dad, and he wanted to keep my dad alive because my dad reminded him so much of his dad. And the question that he asked my dad was, what do you do, or what did you do in the past? Because I really want to save you. Is there any work that you can do? And my dad told him that he needs to be a mechanic engineer, and that's how he kept my dad, or saved my dad
Oh,
from the army not killing my dad. And
to
what
get
it was,
killed.
this army got my dad to actually repair their cars. So my dad was actually working with them. He was actually working with all these different armies, but we just thought my dad was dead.
Yeah.
And after a whole year, the same guy took my dad to the other side where we were, but my dad wasn't sure where we were at the time. And that's how we got reunited after a whole year of thinking he was being killed.
Wow. Wow. Right, what a story. Chrissy, I mean, what a story what a story you've got. Like honestly, like this is what I meant about none of us, none, I can guarantee you that from people who's listening to this, 95% at least will never even experience anything like that. It's a pure movie thing, isn't it? Like you really are, you really went through a lot. You really went through a lot, and I admire you for so many reasons, as you obviously know. And then you just share this story, and it's like, how did you how did you even manage to still kept smiling now, and you kept going, you kept pushing. It's like it's unbelievable. It's really amazing. And so what do you think were, like, obviously after everything you went through, and who you are now, what do you think were the biggest, like, lessons? What are the things you actually learned the most? What do you think will be like, right, goodness, because of this I am like this now? Or
I think for me, what I learned the most is, Linker, I've got a purpose to fulfill. I'm not any different than, friends that got killed. I lost a lot of friends in the war, family members. I'm not any special. I'm not any different. What I believe, I was kept for a reason. I've been kept alive for a purpose. And I'm now on a journey discovering what my calling is. What is, we've all got a gift, right? We've all got a purpose to fulfill. Like Les Brown said, you'll find a lot of the talented or a lot of the gifted people underneath the graveyard because they never had a chance or never discovered what their gift or their calling was. And I believe by me being alive with all the trauma, the war, not eating for days, it's not because I'm better or I'm actually special. I'm actually on a mission or on a journey discovering what is my purpose in this life. And I believe, I'm actually on that journey to fulfilling my purpose. And one of my purpose is to actually change life of millions, if not billions. Once I've created the wealth that I'm actually working on, my goal is to eventually travel or, help other kids in Africa, or certain countries where kids haven't got, they don't know where the next meal is coming from. They don't know where, they haven't got jobs, because you find back in Africa it's not a lot of jobs. There is not such as benefit. So it's not much help or support family get. And this is my long-term goal. So I'm actually on a mission. I'm fulfilling my calling, what I've been called or why I've been brought to this earth to do. I'm on that mission. And one of the biggest lessons that I've learned from this whole trauma and everything is, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve. It doesn't matter where you come from in life, whether you've come from a poor background, whether you haven't got any education, because I also grew up without knowing how to read or write. But back in Africa, it's not diagnosed. There is not such diagnosis where if a child cannot read or if a child cannot write, you get that in the UK. The teacher will spot it, you get support. But in Africa, it's not the same. So I was being bullied because I could not pass exam. I was one of the odd kids in the class. I was one of the oldest kids in the class. The few years I did not really. I went to school for maybe a few years, and when the war came up, obviously I could not go back to school. So it's just knowing, whatever life throw at you, it's just finding that strength that you will overcome. It doesn't matter how tough that the challenge is. It doesn't matter what trauma you've been put through. There is always a way out or whatever situation that you find yourself in.
wow, so powerful. When we hear this sentence, people do say that, especially people who listening to this podcast are people who want to get level up, or they want to, get inspired. That's this podcast is for. So we are surrounded by people who do say the same sentence, you can achieve whatever you want, doesn't matter where you come from and all that. However, when it comes from you, it's extra powerful. It's really extra powerful when someone says that who had a smooth childhood and everything, and then achieved whatever achieved. It's still very inspiring. Don't get me wrong. I'm not putting any. But what I'm trying to say is that when it comes from someone like you, after the story you just told me, it's like I have no excuses not to succeed. Do you see what I mean? It's like I got goosebumps just by listening to you, and inspiration comes from you from every single angle. So it's really amazing, and I'm very obviously sorry to hear about what you went through, but it's amazing how far you've come, and how you decided that you're going to spin your life around. And you're like, you know what, I don't care what life what life thought that I should be here and this is my life. You're like, no, 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 I'm in control of my life. I'm gonna do something about it. So well done, very proud of you. and and obviously you were, oh, just one more thing. It's like I have also a very one of my biggest dream is not dream goals is to also be helping exactly what you said, kids who don't have the same opportunities like we do, kids who are struggling because of either there's a war in a country or something is going on, a shortage of a food or whatever that is, lack of education. And I already done similar thing in Africa as well, and I want to be doing this in the future. This is one of my main wines as well. So it's like maybe even one day we can be helping saving the world together.
Oh yes,
Let's get on the board together. We can achieve more. My love.
definitely.
Now, you know that you see now you are a property investor. You are a businesswoman. Now you came. Is that correct? Around 2001, you came to the country.
Yes.
2001.
Yeah.
Now, you obviously, when you came, I guess that you were not born a businesswoman with a knowledge about property. So, what skills did you have to learn? Where did you start? What did you do in order for you to become an investor?
Okay, that's an interesting question. What it was when I first came to the UK, I was obviously I came here to study, but I just I could not relate to studying because I had this I've got dyslexia. But when I came, I never knew that I had dyslexia. I never knew that I had learning difficulties because of what was being said to me back in Africa. I was told I was a dumb child, that I am, I'm not good to this life and whatnot. And when I came, I could not cope with the education system. I did not really. I just thought, I'm gonna go to school, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna go and get a job. I remember one of the job that I got was working in a school as a kitchen porter. So I was washing dishes, and whatnot. But then during that time, I was sort of I self-taught myself how to read and write through the computer. Also learning how to, when someone texts, if I was to send or text that maybe the spelling wasn't right, through what someone sent to me, I will know actually this is how you spell cup or this is how. So I sort of self-taught myself. I got a few jobs, and I knew there was more to life. I knew this wasn't me working in a school, and it wasn't to do with pride or my ego, but I knew I wanted more because I made this promise to myself, that I was going to create wealth. And I knew by me being a kitchen porter, that wouldn't create wealth. I was still going through the poverty, even though I was in the UK, because the job that I had, it was just a part-time job that wasn't bringing in a lot of income. I then decided that actually where I wasn't enough. I wanted more out of life. I wanted to earn more money. I then went on and got a job in Sainsbury's. I then had a full-time job working weekdays, weekend. It felt that actually I've actually accomplished something much better by the hours that I had. And after working at Sainsbury's, I can't remember where else that I got a job, but I'd done few different jobs. Actually, one of the other jobs that I did was a cleaner. So I remember clearly I had 3 different cleaning jobs because I wanted to earn more money. I wanted to be okay financially, I got 3 different cleaning jobs. I think one was at a school and 2 different other places. I was earning okay money, but I still wasn't satisfied within. I wasn't satisfied. I knew that I could do more. I knew even though that I could not read properly, I did not have any qualification. I did not have any masters or any degree, because for me to earn good money, I have to have those things. But I did not. And after working for so many years, doing these jobs that I literally hated, I was just going into work because I had to earn a living. And that's when I then decided I was going to become a chef. I never went to college to learn. I actually learned on YouTube because my brain could not cope when it comes to learning. I struggle a lot. And I remember I was actually employed as a chef's assistant, but I could not love the food. I wasn't sure how to make them. And when I was asked to cook certain meals, when I was asked to make a bolognese, I would go onto YouTube, right? And I would pick out, the ingredients or recipe of how to make this meal. And that's how I became one of the best chefs. I was a chef for over 12 years. But saying that, I still wasn't satisfied. I was dissatisfied within myself, because I knew the money that I was earning, it still wasn't enough. And that's when property came to my mind. But at the time, I thought, how do I go into properties, or how do I get into properties? I haven't got the knowledge. I don't know how to take on a properties. I just had this thought.
Sound laying around.
Yeah. And I had this vision. I had this vision of becoming a property investor, but I had zero knowledge. A lady that I was friend with at the time said to me, why don't you join a few groups, start connecting with the people that are doing what you're doing? And I remember clearly, I took on the advice she gave to me as if my life depended on it. That's when I was on Facebook, but I wasn't in any group. I then started, one of the group that I joined was progressive. And I started following other people's journey, seeing how they've gone from not knowing how to do a rent-to-rent or service accommodation. And I started building my network. I started connecting with like-minded people doing what I wanted to do. And then I remember clearly saying, I haven't got the money to start, but how do I start, or where do I even start from? And through few of the relationship that I built, one or two of the guys said to me, you can find investors, you can raise investors' money, and why don't you do a rent-to-rent HMOs or rent-to-rent service accommodation? And that's how I got into properties, by joining Facebook groups, learning through other people that were doing it, and just asking a lot of questions. And that's how my property journey started.
Wow. And again, what a story as well. Like, I have to just go back a little bit further. It's like learning how to be a chef via YouTube, not just for home cooking, for actual job. That is already shows what a clever cookie you are, what a smart person, honestly, you are, and how resilient you are. And it's like, and also shows like, honestly, your story needs to be heard. I know we're gonna get to it, but I have to quickly just gonna break it. I know that you want to share your story. One we'll get to it later, but I know that is a way you do want to share your story, and I really support you on this so much, because you really should. There's so much to your story that I'm like, my jaw is going down a lot. I'm like, my goodness, that woman is just unbelievable. Right. I mean, so you became a property investor. That was, so you came to UK 2001. When did you become a property investor roughly? When did you start investing?
I think it was probably, I can't remember exactly when. It was probably 10, 15 years, because when I came into the UK, right, I said education wasn't for me. I've never, ever find education interesting. My brain could not cope. Even as a young child, I could not pass exam. I could not read or write. So for those reasons, I just hated school. It just wasn't. I was going to school because my dad wanted for me to go to school, as any other parents want their kids to go to school, have a degree, and this was my dad's vision. But it wasn't my vision. It's education might be for someone else, but I just knew it wasn't for me. And I've never. I went to school here and there for a few years. I think it was 15 years being in the UK that I actually got into property. And I remember clearly one of the properties tragedy that I got into, or I was going to do, was rent-to-rent HMOs. And the reason being why I wanted to do rent-to-rent HMOs, I was being told you can take on a property that wouldn't cost much, you can rent it, do it up and pull 5-7 people into it, and you can make £500. Yeah, make £500. And I thought, but wow, this is very interesting to get me on the property ladder. I haven't got money. I don't know how to raise investor finance. Let me start by doing rent-to-rent HMO. And I remember listening to or watching a lot of rent-to-rent videos. I also I did the rent-to-rent training, but doing the 6-month training that I did, I knew rent-to-rent wasn't for me, rent-to-rent HMOs. I calculated everything.
I
realized it, and I knew it wasn't something that my heart was into. I was only doing it because I thought, well, this would bring in some cash flow. Why not do it? But within the 6-month training that I did, I wasn't feeling it. And doing the training, I remember my mentor said to me, why don't you do service accommodation if that's what you really want to do? But obviously, I registered to do rent-to-rent HMO, not service accommodation. And then I haven't got the money to pay for rent-to-rent service accommodation. How do I learn? One thing I did was I started building relationship with people that was doing service accommodation. I joined a group, and in this group, all the guys that were in the group did service accommodation. That's how I sort of self-taught myself or learning from other people. But also how I learned about service accommodation was through my mistake. I learned you don't do the cleaning. When I took it on, I was doing the cleaning because I was far from the properties, and because I did not have the cash flow to do that, I was doing the cleaning myself, setting up the properties and everything. But yeah, that's how I sort of learned through getting into service accommodation. And I actually really love doing service accommodation rather than doing rent-to-rent HMOs.
Wow, I'm fully supporting you on that journey. I've never actually started HMOs, but I was very close to starting HMOs as well as the rent-to HMO, and there's a reason why I didn't go for it. And I'm like, thank goodness I didn't go for it. I'm happy for people who have them and they work for them, but HMOs, like I would always go for SA over HMO as well. So yeah. Chrissy, and obviously now you told us about another chapter of your life, and another thing you've decided you're gonna do, and you went for it and you've done it, and it's again another wow, girl, hats off to you. Now, but that's still not it. You have way more in you, and there's a way more you still do and you're planning to do. But I know that I love the way you said it as well, that one of your biggest goals, dreams, is to bring beauty to this world. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about your events, your dreams, what your goals are? What do you mean by bringing the beauty to this world?
Yep. When I got into properties, I soon realized still I wasn't satisfied. I knew, because my whole vision or my long-term goal was creating this financial freedom and also creating wealth and leaving a legacy that I never had, right? And when I got into properties, doing service accommodation, I had a few investors, had to pay them back and whatnot, and the profit that after paying and everything. So I thought, actually, what else? What else can I do? Um, I'm doing properties now, or I'm now in properties, doing service accommodation. What other side hustle or what other business can I create to give me this financial freedom? Because I've been doing this for 2 years. I still haven't achieved my goals. I'm not at that stage or at that point where I can say to myself, I've achieved financial freedom. I wanted more. I wanted more money. I wanted to earn more. And that's when the idea of me starting my own event. For I've never done an event before, never had the knowledge. How do I do this?
You YouTube it.
Yeah, I obviously my mentor, who is based in, she runs a lot of events, and I've been to a lot of her events, and I thought, actually I could start my own networking event or my own event, but I wasn't sure what the first event was going to be. I literally had a thought, or I was thinking about, actually, how can I bring this together? How can I make this event special? How can I put a message out for people to understand what I am trying to create? That was when the thought or the ideas of me starting or setting up a fashion event. And now I'm actually planning my first event, which will be of sustainable fashion event. Mental health awareness is to help people going through mental health, trauma, abuse, giving them hope, giving them their life back, giving them something to look forward to, knowing, their adversities or whatever they're going through, the mental trauma, there are more to life. So the event that I am planning, it will be a sustainable fashion event, but also to do with mental health awareness, which is very, very exciting. My mentor, who I am currently working with, we I am going to be collaborating with her on our mental health child, the wounded child, and it's to do with children that have been through trauma, children that have been through certain trauma growing up. So it's quite exciting. I'm working with a really great lady, Maria Elia, who is awesome. And I'm learning a lot from her. The plan for this event is to have two big events yearly, for 200 to 300 people, but also have quarterly ones or small event as time goes on yearly. So this is where I'm putting my effort, my focus is the event I'm planning. I'm putting in a lot of my energy, just trying to organize things. And it has had its own challenge also. We've had to cancel a few things. We've had to change quite a lot of the plans, but it's gradually starting to come to place. And I'm very, very excited for what will be the next chapter of where I'm heading to in life.
That is wowzers again. And it's like that would, what just would lead me to the next question would be like linking to all this now, listening to you. When you're going to, this is not the question, this is just first, I'm going to say something. Well, I truly believe that when you're going to achieve your events, 2 events a year as you're planning, you're going to be like, what's next? There's more. Because every time you achieve your goal, you realize that there's more. You can achieve more. So what do you think is like a next plan? Not because I know it's not going to be just the 2 events a year. What's sort of like the plan for the next 5 years?
The next 5 years, I do want to have multiple businesses because I believe having just the one income is very risky. If the one business collapse, what do you do? Do you go back and get a job? a lot of people make this mistake by having, and it's okay if someone just want the one income stream. I think for me, I want to have multiple income streams. So if one is something's gone wrong with one business, I've got another income stream coming in. One of my plans for the next 5 years is to turn my story into a book. So this is where I will go deep into my story, the trauma of the war, how, what I went through in the war. And hopefully I'll be looking to start that next year, actually writing my book, turning my story into a book. But the long-term goals for the book is to actually turn the book into a movie. The movie will be based on a true story. And it's just finding the right character who can play that role of
I was about
someone. Yes, that. But yeah, the plan is to start working on my book. But also, I love classic cars. I've always fell in love with classic cars from a very young age. The beauty of classic cars, the uniqueness. So, what the plan is next year. From the money that I will be generating from the event or whatever I'm making, I will be buying my first second-hand classic cars and resell it. And this is part of my 5 years goal is to write my book, get my book published. This book will be an inspiration to many lives. To heal people that have been through bereavement, trauma, people that they're dealing with day-to-day life, that just think there is no more hope. We've got so many people that take their life, behind closed doors. People are suffering silently that not a lot of people know about. So I believe my story will change a lot of lives if I can overcome, as a very young child, going through where I've seen bodies on the road, not having the next meal. I've actually overcome those trauma, those challenges, and I'm still growing stronger. Maybe it could be a healing to someone else that might want to take their life or might want to end their life by reading my story or watching a movie that could actually save them. But this is my goals or my vision for my book. I want my book to be a healing, and I want my book to change life. I want my book to save life. So the next 5 years is focusing on my book. The classic cars, and also start researching for my dream home. I currently live in Outdoor, but my vision for the next 5 years is to also buy my dream home, which I will be living in the next quite a few years. So, but yeah, it's to build multiple income, and just continue creating that wealth.
That's amazing. And then, if I guarantee you that if I interview in 5 years, you will have all this achieved plus more and another goal already set. And I can't wait to see where Chris is going to go next. you're not going anywhere. You are now my friend, and I'm not letting you go anywhere. So I will know everything happens to you. So I can't wait to watch your journey. It's brilliant. Right, my lovely. I have a bit of a funny question for you now. Let's, after all these things we just talked about, which are sad, inspiring, motivating, all these things. Now I have a funny question for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
If there will be a zombie apocalypse in this planet and you can grab 3 things only and you run, what would you take?
Wow, what interesting question. 3 things that I will grab. One would be my daughter, for sure.
Fair enough. You got 2 left then.
I'll grab a few clothes, probably put them in a bag, and some food, probably. To survive on.
Yeah.
So those would be the 3 things that I'll be grabbing.
Don't forget that Darcy is a person on his own, so she could have a backpack with her own 3 things. So you could multiply her. Businesswoman, leverage those little legs. Some stuff in her backpack, multiple. Brilliant. Yeah, fantastic. That's a good one. Now, my lovely, as much as I don't want to stop talking to you, because it's just, you know, you got well, we know that we're gonna hear more about you. People who will want to follow you, they will find you. But I can't wait for your book.
Also, I forgot to add into a I'm actually also within the 5 years, which I forgot to put into a one of the things that I would love to have is for my daughter to have her own clothing brand. So I've got out my vision board on a list of what I've got for Darcy, because I'd never had that opportunity. There wasn't anything built for me. So it's just creating Darcy's own clothing brand and whatever that is gonna be. I thought I would add that into my
She is, for those who's listening, she is most adorable little kid ever. Honestly, she's so beautiful. She's got a beautiful personality. She's so bubbly, and I know that with support of you and what a role model you give it, you know, like as a, you are unbelievable role model. Like what a lucky girl she is, honestly. And she will achieve whatever, but right now it's what you want for her, because obviously she's too young. So she is, you know, so I have no doubt that you'll achieve whatever you want for her, and you will train her, that's not the word, you will raise her to be this most independent, most creative, most amazing young lady, which she's gonna be so resilient, so strong, and have amazing support of what an amazing mom. So yeah, I can't wait to watch both of you fly.
Thank you.
Gonna be amazing. So, my lovely, tell us where people can find you.
So I'm on a few different social media platforms. LinkedIn is you can find me on LinkedIn, Chrissy Can. And also I'm on Instagram. My Instagram name is Chrissy Can, and my username is Chrissy Can Event with an S at the end. And also email address is info at Darcy with a DARCEY.co.uk. That's my email address. But yeah, if people want to reach out or want to connect, they can connect on these three different they can connect on find me on social media, and also I'm on Facebook, and it's same Chrissy Can.
Just keep it simple. Chrissy Can everywhere. And that's CAN for those. Yes, CAN. Sorry.
CHROI. Yes, CHROI SSY, and then Ken is CAN. Ken.
Fantastic. I'll pop it in the description, obviously, as well. Now, I always ask every single guest to give me a book recommendation. That could be something you listen if you are an audible person, or you would read. But what book would you recommend to the listeners to read? Something that change your life?
Oh, I've listened to a lot of audiobooks, a lot of great audiobooks, and there's so many to choose from, so many great ones. But one of the books that I've listened to over and over, if not a million times, is Super Connector. And these books help me in building relationship. It's helped me a lot. It's helped me how to network, how to become a super connector, certain things you shouldn't do when you're networking, what to say, what not to say. It's so people you like to connect with. Yes, Super Connector is one book that I would strongly recommend. It will help you when you're networking. It will teach you the right way to network, people that you want to connect with. That's one of the books that I'll recommend.
That sounds something what I should have, because I love networking and I love connecting, but I don't think I'm doing it correctly. And that sounds something what I should have listened to ages ago. So thank you so much for this recommendation. I'm writing it down, and I am so getting this book. Like, you are so good at networking. So if you as well, if it's coming from you, I'll be like, I'm on it. I'm on it. So thank you so much for this recommendation. It's actually but it's been the first time recommended, which is great because sometimes happens that people recommend similar books. So I already, let's say, Rich Dad Poor Dad or Napoleon Hill, things like that. So occasionally I have the same recommendation. So I quite like when someone gives me something new as well. So I love that, and I'm guilty of not really fully knowing how to really network. So I'm on it. I'm gonna learn that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I learned how to network properly after reading or listening to this book. I thought I was networking the right way, how to connect with people. But for those that will read this book or listen to the audio, certain thing you resonate with, that certain things you've been doing that wasn't right, or what you said to someone,
Gives you lots
he
of aha
literally,
moments.
that's it. He gives you all his secret, and it's so powerful.
Wow.
Implementing those tools and what he's taught in the book is so powerful. It's connected me to some really, really, really great people that I'm actually now good friends with. And I'm still building our relationship. But it's just down to this book that I've listened to, this audio book. I've taken a lot of what he's taught in the book.
Wow, amazing. I can't wait to dig in. I have a broken leg, so I can read a bit more these days. So I'm gonna get that book. I honestly fully taking this recommendation on board. And I have one more question for you. Again, something I always ask. This can be educational, doesn't have to be educational. It's totally up to you. It could be something you watch on your relaxing time. But if Chrissy would recommend something to watch on the TV, what it would be?
Oh, I don't watch TV, but there is a movie someone strongly recommend over a year ago or 2 years ago, Self-Made. And I actually went and got Netflix because of this movie,
I
Self-Made.
love that. I love it. I've seen it. It's
You've
amazing.
seen Self-Made?
Yes.
Yeah. One movie I would strongly is based on a true story from her coming from a slavery background, and she's then now become one of the most wealthiest. I'm not going to ruin the movie
Yeah.
itself. So the whole movie teaches me, or what I've actually taken from it. I think I said this at the beginning or the start of this interview. Anyone can achieve whatever. It's just you believing in yourself, you having the faith. It doesn't matter what background you come from, what English you speak, what education you've got, what degree. Once you believe, because no one else will believe in you, only you can believe in yourself before anyone else start to believe in you. So self-made taught me, even though I've got this belief that I can achieve whatever that I want to achieve in life, but then watching self-made is even giving me more clarities on, that I am or I can achieve anything that I want to achieve. So I would strongly recommend that movie for anyone that I might be less basic, or might just want some inspirational, based on a true story.
Fantastic. My favorite genre, it's biography documentary movies as well. So that's exactly like this Self-Made. It's perfect example of my favorite genre. So I'm right there with you. I love it. And if I could recommend you something back, if you love this sort of things, have you seen a movie called Hidden Figures?
No.
So Hidden Figures, it's about three women back in the day who worked for NASA and who actually changed this world and who helped actually put this first person on the moon, and we don't even know about. And there were three ladies. Have a look, because one of them completely changed the history and no one ever heard of them. It's called Hidden Figures. You're gonna love it. And it's back in the day as well, what she had to go through. And you'll understand, like I cried in that movie as well. I had goosebumps. I was like cheering her on, and oh my god, it's you're gonna truly, I know that it's not guess, you're gonna enjoy that movie. So Hidden Figures, watch that.
No, I'm definitely gonna check, because I like movie like that. I don't really watch TV, but if a movie is very inspiring or there is a lesson to learn,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
definitely watch it. Yeah.
it's
So
true
I'm actually
story.
looking forward to it.
Yeah. I know for sure you're gonna like this. It's not a guess. This
Thank
is, I know that
you.
for sure. Right, my lovely. As much as I don't like doing this, everything has to come to the end. And is there anything you want to add, or you happy because we're gonna have to unfortunately sign off for today. So is there anything
Yeah.
you'd like to add for the listeners?
What I would like to add is whatever you want to achieve in life, go for it. Dream big, take massive action, because without you taking action, you won't achieve these goals. You know, you can talk about it and dream about them, but without the action or implementation, you won't achieve that goal. So dream big. Don't be afraid of taking risks. Take uncalculated risks, and follow your vision, follow your goals, because we all have the ability or all have that power to create the life that each and every one of us dream. You know, I was told I wasn't never going to become anything in life, but I actually believe that I can achieve whatever. So take action and follow your goals, follow your heart, and create the life that you want to create.
Thank you so much for this beautiful advice, and then with a beautiful ending as well to this episode. Chrissy, I've said it many times. I've said it before the podcast. I said it during the podcast, and I will say it to you again many times, but I have to say it now. You are true inspiration. You are so motivational. You're so wow. Honestly, like if you can, I always said it, if Chrissy can, we can. It's like if you can, everybody can. Do you know what I mean? It's like you are the true example of this, like those people who are true like the people, what's the word I'm looking for, you truly can make a difference and you truly can change your life, and
Thank
it's
you.
beautiful. And as I said, I'm really honored to call you my friend, and I look forward to watching your journey, and I can't wait for you to sign your book one day for me, and I'll be on your movie premiere one day, and I'll be there to support you. Right, my love. Well, thank you ever so much for coming on the show today. And I might interview you again in the future to tell us the catch up on, how your goal is planning and what's the next step.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been really great. I've loved every moment of this interview.
Oh,
Thank you. And I can't wait to come back and have another interview with yourself. Thank you so
oh,
much for having me on.
thank you, my lovely. I'm wishing you
Thank
all the
you.
success in the world and to Darcy, and I have no doubts that you'll achieve it. Take care, my
Thank you.
love. Mwah.
Thank you. Bye.